welcome timely basis because that's just bees like that sometimes. But what I want to do is pick up where I left off yesterday and expound a little bit more on the cheating issue. And we talked about, some of the ways that men do cheat and how you can pretty much determine that he's doing something he's not supposed to be doing. All examples of how behaviors may change, and his routine may change, his attitude towards you may change, and all of those things usually mean there's some tipping going on or some tipping that he's considering doing. But then there's the other side of the coin, and that is the woman who finds out that her man is cheating and she stays with him. Now, that's always been kind of a curious thing for me. I don't really judge people. I just wonder how they can do it. And then I, had to consider the fact that we're living in a rather patriarchal society, with the black community specifically being even more so. And a lot of women get their sense of validation as a woman, that of their value, their importance in the community, their place in the community. All of that is based on the fact that they have a man. So if threatened with the loss of this thing, they might feel that they're losing something, that they're gonna they could lose some kind of value to their friends, family, and associates. So rather than leave that relationship, she stays with the guy so she can continue to say, well, at least I got a man. It's really important to a lot of women. I don't know why, because in a situation like this, they're not looking at the respect level. They're not looking at how they're being treated. They're not looking at the damage that may be being done to not only to the mom, but to the children in the family. Because, especially as they get older, they know what's going on. Kids aren't stupid. And people always try to play kids for dumb. They're very astute. Now, they may not always at a certain age know exactly what the problem is, but all kids know that their parents are having problems. They can feel it. So you're not fooling anybody by trying to stay in the relationship and have the kids. I mean, they're going to be miserable. They're in a household with two miserable adults, and so it's going to rub off on them. So people who think, well, I'm doing it to save my family from my kids, that's what you're telling yourself. That's how you're trying to justify it. But it's really about you. And some of you really do believe, I have to tell this, how I always have a story for everything, honey, but this is the truth, and I never was so disgusted in my life. Okay, so I used to really associate with this couple. And one time we went to this other couple's house, and they're having like this little gathering, right? But all the men ended up in the garage playing cards, and all the women were inside sampling wine and cheese and stuff. That's before I became vegan. And the wine was really good. I mean, she had a great selections of reds and white. Oh, but anyway, I digress. So we're sitting there, right? And it's like she and I were the only black ones in this group of about 15 women. Everybody else is white, and everybody else is either married, engaged, living with some kind of couple situation, except for me at the time. I was between boyfriends. So I'm sitting there, but I'm cool. I mean, there seem to be some cool white chicks, so we sitting up there talking and everything. All of a sudden, still don't know how the conversation got onto cheating. But this sister, the one who I, had come with, starts telling these white women that you should just expect that your man will cheat, and that you just go along with it, and this part of being a man. And I mean, she just had like this whole story, right? And I'm sitting there because I'm not saying nothing. But these women, all these white women looking at her like, bitch, is you crazy? And she was just going on and on, like oblivious to the fact that they were looking at her like she had three heads. And I was so embarrassed. I tell you, I was just like willing her to shut her mouth, or some divine intervention coming, strike lightning on her lips so they fried together or something. Because she was just talking, just saying stupid shit. And it just showed that she had absolutely no self-esteem, no sense of of pride in herself as a woman. As I mean, it was awful. It was awful to see someone that small feel like they were that small, that they didn't deserve to be treated well, and that she would be that she had to tolerate this kind of treatment from the man who claims to love her simply because he's a man. Now, come on now. And they had to be black, like I said. So it's like him, his wife, and me are the only black ones in this whole house. And them two have a stupid relationship. Now everybody knows, right? Because the wife, she got the wine in her and her tongue got loose. So she just I was like, oh my God, why am I here? If I could have just turned into a snake and slithered out into the garden, I sure would have done it, because I don't. It's the two of the women, they decided that they needed to smoke, and a bunch of other ones that don't smoke said, "Oh, I'll go with you." And they were out on the patio with the door closed, talking about her. As I went over to get some more wine, I could hear them. I have, like my daughter says, I have dog hearing, and I could hear everything they were saying. It was terrible. She has like no respect amongst this group. And shortly after that, I stopped hanging out with them because, no. I couldn't handle being in a situation like that ever again. I just, no, I don't like to be broadsided, and I don't like to be around women who don't like themselves. That shit might be catching. So I just had to share that story. So in other words, there are a lot of women, though, especially black women, that have that kind of attitude. They feel like if they have a guy who's, reasonably good looking and talented, he makes some money, he's good in bed, that their chances of finding someone on that level like this guy would be difficult. And so they do everything they can to placate and please him, and to keep him around. But I have to ask again, I keep coming back to this. If you aren't getting the type of relationship that you need, that you want, is it good to stay in a situation like that, where are you being made to feel like you're less than? What is that doing to you psychologically and emotionally? That's a very dangerous game to play. I think also another aspect that we have to consider, because when I get advice letters, a lot of the time, well, no, just really seriously, all the time, every single time I get a letter from a woman, she always refers to the length of time that they've been in a relationship. Now, that is valuable information for me to have as far as making a determination about a next move, and, how deep these people are connected emotionally and stuff like that. I mean, it's good information to have, but I mean, it's like something that every single woman puts there, and they put it at the top, like within the first sentence. This is something that's important to females, obviously. And so we have to consider that, the length of time that they've been in this relationship might greatly impact the decision to leave, if infidelity happens. And it seems the longer the relationship, of course, the more invested she is, and the more likely she is to struggle with wanting to leave. But I'll tell you this, even though people, they try to do that work it out thing and all that little stuff, even if you don't leave the person physically, the fact that that person cheated on you means the relationship is damaged beyond repair. It's just damaged. Very, very few couples go through therapy and stuff and come out and stay together on the other side. Most make the determination that it's time to split. And some don't even go to therapy at all. They just split, and that's just that. But if you don't leave him physically, though, you will find that the relationship is fractured, and most people end up leaving anyway. And so you end up doing it either right there when the infidelity happened, or you do it later. But the relationships always change for the negative, and they always end up breaking up at some point, not in the far distant future, because there's a lack of trust. The confidence in the relationship has eroded. There's too much doubt that this person really loves you and cares for you. There's just so much at stake, so much shakiness in the relationship, that few people can make it past that hump. And you also have the kind of women who feel like they actually need a man, and it in some cases it's like any man. It doesn't have to be like a husband and somebody that's making long-term commitment. I mean, he could be like the scallywag that they met 24 hours ago. She's going to attach herself to him, and that's her man in her mind. So even if it's 2 weeks later and she finds out that he's, dipped out with some other woman, she's going to feel like it's her duty to try to, quote, make it work. And that, building this relationship is just solely on her shoulders without really him doing anything to demonstrate that he has that kind of interest in her and that kind of commitment towards her. So, this all men are dogs, all men cheat, all men think with their dicks, all this kind of stuff. You have, when a woman thinks like that, like the lady I was telling you about, when she finds out the man that she's in love with has cheated, she doesn't really trip, and she kind of expects it. And to me, that was just very sad. I don't know, that this would be very hurtful. But I think the thing that worries women the most and makes them stay is this. There's the scale. Why did he cheat, or how connected was he with the cheating? Now, if she finds out that it was like a one-time thing, or they hooked up a couple of times and then it didn't happen anymore, then those kind of situations of women seem to be able to get over a little bit better, because he's not really connected with her. She doesn't feel any threat that his heart and mind is being stolen away, because that's already finished. I'm not saying it makes sense. I'm just telling you how these women calculate whether they should stay or go. This is one of the criteria. And so if she feels like, she has his love that was, quote, just sex, end quote, then she feels like they have a chance to rekindle the relationship. And so she maintains a high level of hope that things will go back to the way that they were. The other half of that is when she finds out that he has a long-term relationship with this woman, maybe even a secret kid or something like that. He's helping her pay bills. I mean, he's invested, right? He's invested in this situation with this other woman. Okay, well, now that's a complete threat. Not only is he emotionally attached, he's sexually attached and financially attached if they have a child. So then under that situation, the woman would do best to leave, because you're going to always be in a situation where you're sharing him, and neither you nor the other woman is getting the man's full love, full heart, full, everything that he has to give. He's not doing it. And I broke that down a little bit yesterday as to why that they do that. So you can look at the video from the 20th and get some tips on that part. Now, sometimes women will see this as a challenge. Okay, they stay in a relationship and they don't really get angry. They instead feel like, well, it's something I'm doing wrong. So she sees this as a competition. She wants to compete for his affection. She's not necessarily competing for dick, because she feels like, whatever. What she's competing for is his heart, his emotions, and his attention. Okay? So to these women, a man is not ruined just because he tipped out, but the situation is ruined when he gives his heart and all of his attention to somebody else. So for them, they're going to up the ante. They're going to change their look. They're going to get better looking, might get some plastic surgery or get new makeup or something. They're going to get their hair done in some different way. They're going to start wearing some new lingerie or learn some new moves or something. I mean, they're going to try to fight for him, fight for his attention and stuff, to pull his attention away from that other situation. Does that work? I don't know. I can't say that I know anybody that has worked on for more than, of course he's going to be curious. It's going to be interesting. It might keep him around for a week or two, but what are you going to, is that going to be your life for the next 20 years? You got to always be, performing circus tricks to get your man's attention? No, that's too much work for Deb. Deb will be like, nah, later for you, dude, because you take too much energy, you take too much time. I can't be bothered. Now, with men, why do they stay? They're a little bit different. They tend to not necessarily want to stay with a woman who's cheated, and very rarely will they. But they will do it. But in general, men think of a woman's body as theirs, right? So when he's with you, he feels like everything about you belongs to him. So if to find out that some other man has touched it, went up in it, done whatever with it, to it, then he feels like you're dirty. You're a whore. You're nasty. You just disgusting. I mean, it's all these negative things that how he had her up on a pedestal. Now she's no longer there because the innocence and the purity of their relationship is gone. And it's like, dude, for real? You have that much value on that one little part of her body? So, I don't know. What they say about men primarily cheat for sexual reasons and women primarily for emotional reasons has some merit. Women do want their man's attention and affection and things like that. But these days, women cheat for sexual reasons just like men do. So, these dudes who are eating badly and experiencing ED and their back is bad and they taking high blood pressure meds, so they get some ED from that. And I mean, just all kind of stuff going on with these dudes that better take care of themselves and, make sure that they're doing what they need to do to satisfy their woman to keep her at home. And, it's not like it was before when women stayed at home and just suffered. They're not going to be doing that. They have needs and they expect you to meet them. So this isn't, that big of a deal, I guess. I mean, if a woman wants to stay with a man who's cheating on her, that's her business. But I think, a lot of it is socialization because women are socialized to be family oriented and told that a man who cheats is just doing what a man does, and don't let that little one mistake break up your family because you see how hard it is out here on your own, and you don't want to be a single mother that's too hard, and your kids need they guilt trip you, right? They put all this stuff on you to make you really doubt that what you should do is get away from some man who would dishonor you, disrespect you, put you and your body at risk like that because he wants to play around. So, these women who will stick around and like I say, get into this competition mode. They want to feel like they don't want to let some heifer steal her man, and then she may even want to, go and attack the other woman, but she's very threatened by attacking him because she doesn't want the relationship to go up in smoke. So that's what I have to say on that. We should probably try to have some understanding for what the woman may be going through as far as, they're trying to wrap her mind around what's happened, especially, if it's the first time. If she's withstood multiple cheating incidents, then there's something that's keeping her there, and most likely it's low self-esteem and a belief that she can't do any better. That's a lot of what this is. So I got like 4 videos to make this week, so I'm about to get off of here and then make a new one. All right. This is Deb Cooper from survivingdating.com, closing out day 21, talking about women who stay with cheating men and why they do it. Talk to you later.